aimed at revising the country's military service system. Earlier in August, the federal cabinet has approved the proposal, which reintroduces mandatory registration for all 18-year-old men and allows compulsory service if voluntary recruitment falls short or the security situation deteriorates. During yesterday's first reading of the bill, the debate centered on a proposed lottery system for mandatory recruitment. Meanwhile, the conservative CDU-CSU bloc has backed the lottery, while the center-left SPD has strongly opposed it. The Green Party and Left Party have also criticized the bill as rushed and lacking consensus. Moreover, Federal President Frank-Walter Steinmeier has expressed doubts, highlighting that young people's futures should not be decided by lottery. Additionally, former Parliament member Sevim Dagdelin has urged focus on education and investment in youth rather than military expansion, citing NATO and US demands. Let's listen in.
Unsere Kinder und Jugendlichen vernünftig auszubilden, Geld in die Hand zu nehmen in die Bildung, statt immer mehr Aufrüstung, immer mehr Geld in Rüstung und Militär. Und all das, weil die NATO, weil die USA als Führungsmacht der NATO von der Bundesrepublik Deutschland verlangen, die Bundeswehrsoldaten aufzustellen.
Now for this discussion, we go back to Martin Serra-Iraitz. He's a foreign affairs expert, joins us live from Quito. Thank you, Martin, for staying with us. Now, how shocking is this news coming in from Europe, coming in from a democratic country with, past history, past Second World War, especially history behind it? What was your reaction to this?
My reaction is that even though it's shocking news because Europe has become a very political correct union, but I think it's the most logic decision. Germany has been putting the importance of defense aside for a lot of years. They thought they will never have a huge war again, and I think they did a mistake, but by not providing the importance that it is required. And right now they're seeing that these former decisions have been very bad for their future. Right now that they see that Russia is a huge threat for the European Union, they came to the conclusion that they can no longer trust that long-lasting peace will be taken for granted in the European Union, and that they need to take action right now before it's too late. Unfortunately, Germany after the Second World War, they have absolutely forgot about how to defend themselves because maybe the trauma of the war, the trauma of fascism, but they need to understand that defense is really, really serious and important for survival. And Germany right now has a huge problem within its forces. They have a lack of man-force. They have a lack of readiness for a war. And we see also in the youth is not interested at all in taking part of the army, and they see the lack of freewheeling military youth that they would like to take part of the military free and willing. And right now they need to come to a very strong decision in order to implement the compulsory service and the obligatory service because they have no other option. And I don't think a compulsory service is going to affect the democracy. We see, for example, Israel is a pretty much free democracy, and the compulsory service is a duty because of its mere survival. So I think it's the right decision to take for Germany right now.
And Martin, how much of this push to revise Germany's military service system, how do you think is being driven by external pressure, or do you think this is from external pressure as well as NATO obligations?
Absolutely. I think this decision is not coming from the German culture or an inner view of the importance of the military. Germany, after the war, became one of the major human rights defenders in the world and peacemakers in the world. I think this decision came, first of all, because of the NATO requirements, and now Trump is leading NATO, and and he wants to make it stronger and to pressure more countries to give more budget, more and to engage more in NATO. The second external factor is Russia itself. Russia poses a huge threat for Germany. It's only right now Ukraine has been invaded, and we have been seeing clashes also in the Polish border. So I think Germans are pretty aware that if they don't wake up now, it will be too late to repair the mistake of not putting the importance that is required for the army. And I think it's absolutely external, the causes of this decision.
Thank you, Martin, for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we come back to you. Now we move on to France and Italy. French President Emmanuel Macron has welcomed European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen at the Élysée Palace today. The two leaders are scheduled to discuss key issues, including continued support for Ukraine and the crisis in the Middle East. This comes as global leaders face mounting pressure to respond to ongoing crises. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to address the potential supply of Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine in his upcoming talks with President Volodymyr Zelensky. However, a surprise announcement regarding a potential U.S.-Russian summit has raised uncertainties about the implementation of these plans. Trump has revealed that he and Russian President Vladimir Putin held a 2-hour phone conversation, calling it productive, and mentioned the possibility of meeting in Budapest in the coming weeks. Now for this discussion, we go back to Martin Sai-Rides. He's a foreign affairs expert, joins us live from Quito. Thank you very much, Martin, for staying with us. Now, looking at this, how might Macron and Leyen's meeting shape the EU's collective stance? And also, given the current geopolitical tensions, how significant is EU's role in mediating or influencing outcomes of US-Russia dynamic?
I think it's a very important factor. France is the only atomic bomb. It's one of the in the European Union, you have France, that is one of the major atomic countries. And I think France right now is one of the most powerful in the military sense, countries in the European Union. And it gives a clear message of deterrence by using a very strong country for this mediation. And I think France has been, for years, a mediator that has been neutral for a lot of conflicts, and I think it is the right decision to make.
And now Ukraine in the middle. What are the implications of Donald Trump's private conversations with Vladimir Putin and this proposed U.S.-Russia summit that just took us by surprise?
Well, I think this can lead to a lot of misunderstandings. Since, as I said before, Trump has been approaching Zelensky in a very positive way. However, secret or private talks between Putin and Trump can lead to a deterioration between the Ukrainian leadership and Trump. But hopefully these conversations can lead also for mediation between Putin and Zelensky. Maybe Trump is trying to convince Putin to give up in a lot of his claims on this war and trying to balance each country's interest in order to convince each leader to come to a conclusion and to an end of this war, and trying to understand the main goals that each leader wants for each country.
Thank you very much, Martin, for joining us and sharing that insight throughout our news.